Hey guys, today we're going to engage in some really blatant heresy here from Majorkill. Majorkill released a video a while back about the pros and cons of joining Chaos. I don't think we solved that one. I don't think my nervous system would actually withstand it. But now he's asked another question, and apparently Gasper Vladi wanted me to check it out. This is which Chaos god is best to pledge allegiance to? How about none of them? How about Malol because he doesn't exist? But in any case, guys, Majorkill, it's Majorkill. Let's have fun. Let's see what he's talking about. Nurgle, because even though your life sucks, you're always happy. He seems like the only one, really, that, if you had to choose, if you really had to choose, wouldn't you rather be just happy all the time? I'm just saying. But you get it. Let's go.
Recently, we discussed if there was actually a valid and reasonable justification for selling your soul to the forces of hell. And surprisingly, there actually was for some people. Straight up, many Chaos cultists and even Space Marines join Chaos for a solid reason. You can hate them for it, but you can't sit there in confusion, scratching your balls and then sniffing the hand that you just scratched them with. But like in most situations, it's important to talk about diversity. Each Chaos God is wildly different to the others, hence serving one Chaos God will net you an entirely different experience than if you were serving another. Chaos Gods don't really care about equality. It's not really on their priorities beyond equally accepting and soul raping everyone regardless of their race and gender. So serving some Chaos Gods will net you a better time overall than serving others. I mean, it does depend on your preference, but there are some pretty clear benefits some gods have over the others. Before we get started, I want to quickly bring up something that I said a week or two ago. With the new Eldar models being unveiled, they look dope by the way, I'm definitely blowing this month's Patreon check on them. Business expense, you know? I had a keen eye out for the new Margan Ra model, as I said that if it was a good model and a great upgrade on the previous model, which was older than an old man's sack, then I would take down my Space Elf Deathlord that was designed as a modernized and proportionate proxy of the old model, as well as the artworks. Here's the thing. The new Margan Ra is great, but it feels more like Margan Ra's brother, not him. They've given him a hood and they've made him more like a speedy, agile dude, instead of the unshakable Doomslayer Chad that he should be. So as such, whilst I love the new model, I'm going to leave Space Elf Deathlord up on the Majorkill mini store for the Eldar players that wanted more of a straightforward remaster of the old model rather than a reboot. Today we'll go over what joining each of the Chaos Gods looks like.
And those will be in the description down below, guys. Check that out.
Detailing the pros and cons of each, before deciding which would be best for the average person to sell their soul to. Let's get into it. Let's start with Khorne, as if I mentioned.
Okay, so Khorne, my personal opinion, one of the worst, because eventually you start losing your mind and then you just want to kill people all the time. Yeah, he's actually the worst, probably besides tzeentch. Tzeentch just dicks you around for no real reason.
Mentioned slaanesh this early in the video, it'll probably get age restricted like all my other slaanesh videos. In a setting called Warhammer, the god of war features quite a lot, and surprisingly, he's actually probably not the worst to join.
No.
First and foremost, Khorne isn't a conniving little shit that will fuck you over for a laugh, like Slaanesh and tzeentch would. You know what you're getting with Khorne, no catches or hidden consequences. Khorne isn't big on mutating his followers.
No,
he doesn't
really
turn you into a blob or give you tentacles and shit. Basic Khornite followers will grow larger muscles, denser bones, and heightened senses, but only the most revered and dedicated of Khorne's champions will begin to grow small horns and get a bit more demony. So if you were worried about your appearance changing, Khorne has got your back. I mean, you might have to carve his symbol into your flesh, but you know, that's aside the point. The initial stages of worshipping Khorne are quite nice. Sure, Khorne is the god of blood and war, but he's also the god of martial prowess, honor, and bravery. Your initial boons will be subtle and positive. You'll become a better warrior, more confident, a better leader. As Khorne also despises magic and sees it as dishonorable, he grants his followers a degree of protection from it. This is how, in fantasy, it took 12 chosen bloodthirsters to temporarily take down Lord Croak, and in an alternate 40k timeline, it was a bloodthirster who was able to strike down the Golden Throne. None of the other gods grant this kind of magical protection that Khorne does, hence he is always the one to take down the overpowered magical raid bosses. With a lot of discipline, you can maintain this subtly powered khornite state, but eventually the bloodthirst will get to you. You'll basically develop Tourette's, but instead of yelling out funny cooked shit, you'll kill something.
Yeah.
Khornite warbands capture slaves purely so that during long interstellar travel, they have shit to kill on the way. The point is that joining khorne takes a degenerative toll. Take Khan as an example. Khan started off as a bro. He faced down his sulking Primarch and convinced him to lead the Legion. He became best buds with Argyll Tal. He kicked the shit out of Erebus for betraying Argyll, and he was overall seen as the spiritual leader of the World Eaters. However, the influence of khorne fried his brain, and it brought him down to a point where he's now a literal mindless berserker. Like, he's almost a meme. He never really talks now, kills his own warriors, gets killed and revived, and is in a constant state of rage. He's basically Chaos's version of the Doomslayer. Whilst the Doomslayer is awesome, he isn't a very deep or talkative character.
No.
So while the start of your worship to khorne will be pleasant, the deeper you go, the more of your sanity you'll lose until you either die or claim enough skulls to become a demon prince. In saying that, there are some world eaters
And it's kind of crazy that khorne isn't a demon prince by now, to be honest.
who have reduced their khorne worship a bit so that they can maintain a level head and they don't descend into complete blood-fueled madness. So what about tzeentch? Is he a better option to
He's probably the second worst to slaanesh.
join with? The thing about tzeentch is that serving him will be either really fucking good or really fucking bad, depending on which weird mood tzeentch is in. With khorne, it's obvious what he wants. Go kill shit and he'll give you a pat on the head. Run from a battle and he'll stomp on your balls. But with tzeentch, not even he knows what he wants half the time. Followers of tzeentch that follow his exact design and ambitions might find themselves cursed to become a chaos spawn for the laughs, and his other followers that seek to be free of his influence and even attempt to undermine him might find themselves given boons and genuine gifts from tzeentch. A good example is Ahriman. Ahriman actually has his shit together and is one of the most sane Chaos champions around, yet he is constantly seeking ways to learn more about tzeentch to shake off its influence and give himself greater free will. As a response to this, tzeentch gives him power boosts and even prevents Magnus from killing him. Tzeentch is just here for a laugh, you know, and I can respect that. Unfortunately, due to tzeentch being the most immersed in the warp out of all the Chaos gods, following him incurs a much higher risk of random mutation as compared to the other gods. As such, you might wake up one day to find your foot, fingers, or cock turned into tentacles. Tzeentch does this because, once again, he finds it funny. You can either accept these gifts, or, as some Chaos Marines do, cut them off to prevent further mutation. Good thing they never use their cocks, otherwise that would be a very rough short end of the stick. So when it comes to praising tzeentch, you'll either have a great time full of adventure, knowledge, power, and destiny, or you'll get turned into a mindless chaos spawn, or, you know, both. Such is the whim of tzeentch.
It really doesn't make any sense, and it literally sucks the most. I have to say, it's like one of the... It sucks.
So now that we're further in the video, we can talk about slaanesh. Interestingly enough, following slaanesh does the most to mirror real life. Allow me to explain. Slaanesh is sex, drugs, and rock and roll for sure, which is awesome. But if you say that to someone who takes Warhammer lore way too seriously, then they'll get mad and they'll be like, nah, slaanesh is about excess and addiction. Which is correct, but come on, you fucking neckbeard.
It's correct, but you're literally leaving out 90% of it just to suit a narrative.
Let me enjoy the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. After all, this is an official model of a slaaneshi follower.
Right.
Back to my original point, the excessive and addictive nature of slaanesh can be seen in our society by drug addicts all the time. There are numerous cases of drug addicts robbing and even killing their own family members in order to take their cash and buy more drugs.
Right.
The deeper your drug addiction goes, the more empty and depraved you become. Your appearance becomes a twisted shadow of its former self. It always starts the same. A small addiction here with big highs only has a minor impact on your life, but eventually you either stop or you end up as one of those rambling junkies on the street that everyone avoids looking at. I'm talking about shit like meth and heroin here, not the other stuff. The other stuff's fine. For slaanesh, you basically take everything I said and you times it by 10 with a side serving of evil. The highs are way taller and the lows are way deeper. To get the hit, it becomes less about doing more drugs and more about what you do while you're on those drugs. Deplorable evil shit becomes your new norm. Take Sigvald for example. He looks pretty fresh, seems to be sane, and doesn't look corrupted. But then you learn that not only is he the world's #1 rapist, but he also eats the women he rapes while he's raping them. Very solid. The Emperor's children are also one of the weakest legions in the galaxy due to how depraved and disorganized they are. They struggle to replenish their numbers or even win battles because of how all over the place each individual member is. They'd rather spend their time railing space cocaine instead of doing anything productive for chaos. When you follow Slaanesh, all your morals and values go out the door. Slaanesh will actually reward you with bigger highs for each moral and value you break in her name. At least with khorne, you can maintain your honor and courage despite your slipping sanity. Tzeentch won't try to force you to sodomize your daughter, and Nurgle doesn't even know what a penis is. Slaanesh, on the other hand, will actively try break you down until you are a literal gremlin, a stain on humanity's legacy. But hey, you get to have hectic orgies, so it's pretty balanced out. And finally, Nurgle. Joining Nurgle is pretty straightforward and on a superficial level, looks kinda terrible. You get bloated and smelly. Your rotting body becomes home to demonic insects as your organs twist and turn. Everyone except other Nurglite followers will shun you. But here's the thing, as a Nurglite follower, you don't feel any of the pain or discomfort from how gross you are. You feel bliss and a feeling of satisfaction and content. You also don't go insane. Like there was a story about a guardsman who was killed and brought back to life as a Nurglite zombie. Even he still maintained his brain, and he actually tried to rejoin the loyalist guardsmen to help them fight Nurgle, but he was shot at when he approached them for obvious reasons.
Obviously.
Nurgle is also the only god that actually cares about his followers, and he sees them as his children, whilst the other Chaos gods see their followers as tools and minions. This is why Nurglite demons always seem so happy. Daddy loves them. Nurglite followers will also gain a crazy amount of durability due to the fact that their organs no longer have any useful function, and their bodies are instead sustained purely through.
Guys, if you haven't seen Warrior Tears video on Nurgle, it will explain why this is as depraved as it's just depraved. It's messed up. It's disgusting.
Through Nurgle's warp magic. To prove this, there was a scene where a couple plague marines are cut off from the warp, and they instantly begin screaming in horror at what they've become before they painfully die due to how fucked their bodies are. So yeah, once you join Nurgle, there really isn't any way to unjoin him. I mean, there's not really any way to unjoin any of them, but for Nurgle, it's guaranteed death to do so.
Yeah.
Basically, if you join Nurgle, you get love, community, no suffering, and eternal life, but you become the most unfuckable thing in the entire galaxy. So that's the 4 options. Or is it? Is there another option which basically shits on all the others? Yes. Chaos Undivided. When you become a follower of Chaos Undivided, you gain the power of all 4 Chaos Gods without all the negatives, as technically none of them own your soul, hence they can't do their wacky bullshit to you. Examples include Abaddon, Lorgar, and Perturabo. All 3 are slaves to Chaos, there is no doubt about that, but they are genuinely free to follow their own agendas and interpret Chaos how they will. They won't be forced to do anything that they don't really want to do. This is a delicate balancing act though. Being a successful follower of Chaos Undivided means you're useful to Chaos as a whole without helping one god more than the others. The reason why you are safe and free is because if a Chaos God tries to fuck with you, the others will smack them, as they would see it as infringing on their shared property. You also don't get access to the specialized power of each Chaos God, so you won't have the durability of Nurgle, the strength of khorne, the knowledge of tzeentch, and the cock of slaanesh, to as great as a degree as a dedicated follower would. But that's not a huge deal, so as long as you have the will to maintain your belief in Undivided. If so, then this is by far the best option. If you can't be undivided, then honestly, Nurgle isn't the worst option.
No,
it's a pretty good
not.
life, and there's no mirrors in Nurgle's garden, so you don't have to see yourself. Tzeentch is also a good option as long as you don't get turned into a chaos spawn, whilst khorne and slaanesh are a bit rough, due to the fact that the longer that you worship them for, the more degenerative you become. Even though the start of slaanesh and khorne's worship is the best. A few years in, and you'll be cooked as. When it comes to selling your soul to hell, you're allowed to be picky, so hopefully now when chaos comes knocking, you can make an educated decision about your future. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Where only $1 per month give you access to a boatload of undivided hentai. Hit the subscribe button.
Why did he have that? That is so... Why? Oh, so... all things considered, khorne, slaanesh, those are basically 2 of the worst. I mean, they're all bad in their own ways, but if it's khorne, you turn into a raving sociopath. If it's slaanesh, you turn into a raving sociopath. If it's tzeentch, you really don't know what's going to happen to you. If it's nurgle, you turn into a raving sociopath, but at least you're happy. All things considered, it's just not, it's not okay, okay? You don't want to go down those paths in either case. Guys, support the Emperor, praise the Emperor, be one with the Emperor, don't go down these roads. You know, if you go with Khorne, you just start screaming and you're bothering, you're a hassle to be around. If you go with slaanesh, you're a real hassle to be around after a while. Nurgle, you stink. Of course, you don't want to be there. You disgust everybody in a 5-mile radius. And with tzeentch, you can't stop backstabbing everyone around you. Guys, just go with the Emperor. Be one with humanity. And be happy with it. Stop trying to go other places. I'm going to have all the Majorkill's links down in the description down below, so go check him out. If you guys enjoyed the video, just leave a like and subscribe. Well, subscribe if you haven't. Leave a like and a comment down below. And for some of you heretics out there, which one do you follow? And if you don't, praise be to the Emperor. Guys, if you'd like to support the channel, I have a Patreon down below. And, yeah. If you'd like to support the channel through other means, I have merchandise as well, done by Valk. I have no idea why I'm so tired tonight, but it is what it is. Guys, I'll catch you next time.